Good morning, you are watching AnewZ. I'm Baku and let's see the top stories shaping our world. US President Donald Trump signs an order doubling tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from 25% to 50%. South Korea's newly elected President Lee Jae-Myung has officially taken office. Turkic World's Cultural Footprint honored at Berlin Conference. The United States is escalating its trade defenses with a sharp increase in tariffs on key industrial metals. The move signals a renewed push by President Donald Trump to prioritize domestic production, even at the risk of straining international economic ties.
In a sweeping move to bolster domestic industry, US President Donald Trump has signed an executive order doubling tariffs on steel and aluminium imports from 25% to 50%. The decision marks the second major hike since March and takes effect Wednesday. Trump says the measure is vital for protecting the American steel industry and reducing reliance on foreign suppliers. Speaking at a US steel factory rally, he argued that only high tariffs would force businesses to buy American.
If you don't have steel, you don't have a country. You don't have a country. You can't make a military. What are we going to do? Say, let's go to China to get our steel for the army tanks and for the boats and ships. A strong steel industry is not just a matter of dignity or prosperity and pride. It's above all a matter of national security, and it is.
But the announcement has stirred unease at home and abroad. Critics warn of steep consequences, higher costs for US manufacturers, potential retaliation from trade partners, and deeper disruption to global supply chains. Some affected firms expressed disbelief that the policy was going ahead, hoping it might be a bluff or bargaining tactic. The UK, however, secured a partial exemption. Its tariffs remain at 25% amid ongoing trade talks with Washington. Meanwhile, the US, already the world's largest steel importer after the EU, sources much of its metal from countries like Canada, Brazil and South Korea. This latest move reverses earlier carve-outs and exemptions Trump deemed too lenient. Though imports and US production levels had remained relatively stable in recent months, April saw a 17% drop in steel imports. Industry watchers now expect an even sharper decline. Canada and the EU are reportedly readying counter-tariffs in response.
More than 200 wildfires are raging across Canada, prompting mass evacuations and deteriorating air quality, with smoke affecting parts of the US Midwest.
Canada is facing a severe wildfire crisis, with over 200 active fires across Saskatchewan, Manitoba and Alberta. Among these, 106 are classified as out of control, leading to the evacuation of more than 27,000 residents. In Saskatchewan, the situation is particularly dire, with fires expanding to hundreds of thousands of hectares, breaching the La Ronge airport and affecting thousands of people.
It has impacted, like with children, being able to go to sports practices, events getting canceled and things like that. We haven't seen it yet with these wildfires, but I think it's coming probably even today.
The smoke from these wildfires has not been confined to Canada. It has drifted southward, causing hazardous air quality in the US Midwest. Minnesota issued its first ever maroon air quality alert, indicating very unhealthy conditions. The smoke has also reached as far as Cincinnati, Ohio, and even parts of Europe. Health officials are urging residents in affected areas to limit outdoor activities and use respirators when necessary. So far, 1.9 million hectares have burned in 3 provinces of Canada. Experts attribute the severity of these wildfires to prolonged drought and high temperatures, conditions exacerbated by climate change. They warn that such extreme weather events are likely to become more frequent, underscoring the need for comprehensive wildfire management and climate mitigation strategies.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has announced a shake-up in his military, including the appointment to a new post of a commander who tendered his resignation over a deadly Russian attack. Zelensky has placed Mikhailo Drapatye as the new commander of joint forces. Drapatye, previously serving as commander of Ukraine's land forces, offered to quit after a Russian strike killed 12 service members under his command. The Ukrainian president also announced the approval of other personnel to new posts, including Ole Apostol as commander of paratroops and Robert Braudy as commander of unmanned systems. Russia's Federal Security Service says it has detained a man linked to the underwater explosion targeting the Kerch Bridge linking Russia with illegally annexed Crimea. Earlier, Ukraine's Security Service claimed responsibility for the blast. They published footage showing the moment of the explosion, saying they have used over a ton of explosives to damage underwater pillars of the bridge. After a temporary halt in traffic, Moscow says the bridge is fully operational. This is the third strike on the bridge that Ukraine's security service has claimed since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion. Ukraine says it hit 41 Russian military aircraft during Operation Spiderweb, a series of drone attacks on air bases deep in Russian territory over the weekend. The Kremlin said a formal investigation was launched.
The Kremlin has launched a formal investigation into a series of Ukrainian drone attacks that struck multiple Russian military airfields over the weekend, one of the most damaging operations of the war so far. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said President Vladimir Putin had been kept updated in real time and that official inquiries are now underway.
An investigation is ongoing. The president was informed as events unfolded. I suggest waiting for the results of that investigation.
The attacks claimed by Ukraine's Domestic Security Service, the SBU, reportedly hit 4 air bases and damaged 41 aircrafts. Ukraine says the drones were launched from inside Russian territory, concealed in wooden sheds near the bases, part of an operation over a year in the making.
The operation was prepared for over a year and a half. Planning and details were perfect. The drones launched from sites near Russian FSB departments.
Footage shared by Ukrainian officials shows drones packed into containers, then launched remotely as roofing panels lifted off. The strikes came the same day as a separate deadly incident, a train derailment in Russia's Bryansk region that killed at least 7. Russia says a bridge was blown up while a passenger train was passing. A rail bridge in nearby Kursk also collapsed. No one has claimed responsibility. And while Ukraine views the strikes as a precision blow against Russia's long-range threat, Moscow is now focused on uncovering how such a coordinated assault reached so deep inside its territory. The outcome of the Kremlin's investigation could shape how Russia responds, militarily and politically, in the days to come.
And previously we discussed the significance of the latest Ukrainian special operations with Andriy Ornovich, a former military officer from Kiev, Ukraine. Andriy told us what do those operations signals and how it applies to both Spiderweb operation and Crimea bridge bombing.
First and foremost, this type of the operation proves one more time that Ukraine has institutional capacity as well as human being capacity to plan, coordinate, and conduct such operation. Second one, it is demonstration of our current technology, at least in 2 domains, air domain and the maritime domain. Thirdly, it is also demonstration of our effective long-range capability with the tactical application. Fourthly, we are demonstrated such type of the creativity in the fighting this war with the less amount of troops but more technologically innovative application. And firstly, it was probably the most devastating blow of strategic aircraft of Russian Federation with nuclear capabilities. First of all these 2 operations on maritime domain and air domain, it is first foremost operations which are directed to undermine war efforts. With the Crimea breach, they are using very widely to make a logistical line of communication. With the air domains, with the strategic nuclear bombers, they're using to bomb our cities, our civilians, our critical infrastructure.
South Korea's newly elected President Lee Jae-Myung has officially taken office following a scaled-down inauguration ceremony held at the National Assembly in Seoul today. His swearing-in comes just a day after winning a snap election, signaling a major political shift in the country's leadership.
Lee Jae-Myung was officially sworn in as South Korea's 21st president on Wednesday during a scaled-down inauguration ceremony held at the National Assembly in Seoul. The 61-year-old former human rights lawyer takes office after winning Tuesday's snap election with 49% of the vote. He defeated Kim Moon-soo of the Conservative People Power Party, who secured 41%. Signalling a major liberal shift following the ousting of former President Yoon Suk Yeol. The election was called amid widespread public backlash over Yoon's attempt to impose martial law.
I solemnly swear before the people that I will faithfully carry out my duties as president by upholding the Constitution, defending the nation, striving for the peaceful reunification of the homeland, promoting the freedom and welfare of the people, and advancing our national culture.
Following his oath of office, President Lee outlined his administration's priorities, vowing to restore democracy, rebuild the economy, and ensure national security through dialogue and strong alliances. Conservative challenger Kim Moon-soo conceded defeat early Wednesday, offering his congratulations to the new president.
I humbly accept the will of the people. I extend my congratulations to candidate Lee Jae-Myung. I will never forget the overwhelming support and encouragement the people have given me.
Thousands of Lee's supporters gathered in central Seoul late into the night to celebrate the victory. As Lee begins his 5-year term, the nation watches closely, hopeful that his leadership will bring stability, unity, and renewed momentum to South Korea's future.
This year, the Baku Energy Forum celebrates its 30th anniversary. The event, hosting talks on renewable energy, regional cooperation and energy security, gathered experts from around the world to shape future energy strategies.
The Baku Energy Forum celebrates its 30th anniversary this year, bringing together global energy leaders to discuss security, technology and renewables. Azerbaijan's energy minister highlighted the country's key role in supplying oil and gas to Europe. Over 75% of oil and 51% of gas exports went there in 2024. With major projects and growing investments in solar and wind, Azerbaijan plans to reach 33.7% renewable energy by 2027. Pakistan's energy minister thanked Azerbaijan for its support in gas development. In an exclusive interview with AnewZ TV, the minister said Pakistan relies on friendly nations for gas, follows efficiency standards, and is working on a greener energy policy with a focus on stability and industrial growth.
I think one message that is evident to the world is that no country can, move towards a sustainable climatic environment on its own. So you have to cooperate, you have to thrash out holistic policies after understanding the needs of each other, and these forums provide you better understanding on how the strategies in other countries are working.
The Baku Energy Forum remains an important platform for ensuring sustainable development and security in the energy sector. The agreements signed and projects discussed here could pave the way for new collaborations and innovative initiatives in the future.
Guinea-Bissau, you have the oil and gas, okay, but not yet start its exploitation. So, you know, Azerbaijan have the experience in the exploitation of oil and gas. For that, my country start design the framework to cooperate with Azerbaijan in this case. But another thing, you have the potentiality in the renewable energy.
Participants also discussed digital tech, clean energy, the 29th conference of the party's outcomes, and green projects. The forum runs until June 4th and includes meetings to strengthen local and regional ties.
The first international conference on colonial ideologies and realities opened in Baku, bringing together experts, scholars and leading voices from around the world, looking to advance international collaboration and legal action, aimed at dismantling systemic barriers that hinder decolonization.
An international conference titled Imperial Structure, Colonial Ideologies and Realities has opened in Baku, convening global experts, diplomats, UN officials and lawmakers to examine the enduring legacies of colonialism and its modern-day manifestations. Organised by the Baku Initiative Group, the event marks the first of its kind to bring together scholars and professionals engaged in decolonization efforts across various UN structures.
Has published over 10 reports.
Executive Director of the Baku Initiative Group opened the conference by highlighting its unique focus on examining colonialism through a scholarly lens within the frameworks of international organizations.
Associate members,
the two-day forum highlights how former colonial powers hinder global progress and stresses the need for stronger laws, global cooperation and full implementation of UN decolonization resolutions.
We have three dimensions of colonization. There is the real dimension, what happened to us, the death, the torture, the rape of the nations and the land, so on and so forth. But that reality has long been reversed. What the colonizer still keeps control over is the two other dimensions.
The forum also examined France's ongoing role in its former colonies, with several participants criticizing its actions and influence in Africa.
We must stand together, speak with one voice, and collectively condemn France's colonialist stance, which is still evident in various forms today. Part of the purpose of this gathering is to present factual and substantiated information. France continues to use the media to spread misinformation about its former colonies, and it's crucial that we challenge those narratives with truth.
The broader conversation around decolonization also touched on the effectiveness of international mechanisms and the role of advocacy efforts.
Recent statistics show that the voices of all territories still under colonial rule have now been conveyed to the international community. International organizations and several countries are beginning to support the fight against colonialism. Some express verbal support, while others show direct reactions.
Right now, there is a process under the C24, which is the Committee on Decolonization, that would assess the readiness of countries to become independent. Personally, I think that it is skewed towards the colonizer. I think that not the committee, but the questions that are asked.
The conference will continue with lectures at ADA University and the Azerbaijan University of Languages, focusing on how colonial thinking continues to influence modern international relations.
The rich cultural and scientific legacy of the Turkic world took center stage in Berlin at a special conference highlighting its contributions to global heritage. The event, titled Contributions of the Turkic World to World Science and Culture, brought together scholars, diplomats and artists to showcase the depth and diversity of Turkic nations. The rich cultural and scientific heritage of the Turkic world was presented to the international community at the conference titled Contributions of the Turkic World to World Science and Culture, held in Berlin, the capital of Germany. Organized under the auspices of the International Organization of Turkic Culture, Turksoy, and with the cooperation of the embassies of Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan and Turkey, the conference was supported by the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency and the Yunus Emre Institute. Held at the Azerbaijan Cultural Center in Berlin, the event featured a high-level opening session, scholarly panels, a traditional art exhibition, and performances of Turkic music. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Turksoy Secretary General Sultan Raif said the gathering in Berlin was more than a retrospective. It was about revitalizing the cultural bridge that connects the past with the future. Raif noted that generations from the Turkic geography have enriched human history with intellect, spirit, and aesthetic sensibility. He underscored the significance of Divani Lugati Türk, authored by Kashgarlı Mahmud, describing it not merely as a dictionary, but as a cultural atlas. The goal of the conference was not only to highlight the cultural and scientific contributions of the Turkic world, but also to reintroduce its shared heritage to an international audience from a fresh perspective. Uzbekistan and Turkey are increasing their outreach to Afghanistan's Taliban-led administration. Our Tamim Bahis has the details in Kabul.
Uzbekistan and Turkey are stepping up their engagement with the Taliban-led government in Afghanistan, signaling a deepening regional approach focused on dialogue over isolation. In a recent interview with Uzbek media, Abdulaziz Kamilov, the Deputy Secretary of the Security Council under the President of Uzbekistan, underscored a clear message. The people of Afghanistan need support, not pressure. Kamilov emphasized that Uzbekistan is following a consistent, pragmatic and principled policy in its dealing with Afghanistan. He called for the launch of a comprehensive international dialogue that includes the Taliban regardless of their current recognition status. He added that recognition is inevitable and should not be a precondition for engagement. Meanwhile, in Kabul, Afghanistan's acting foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi met with Turkish ambassador Cenk Onal. The two discussed bilateral ties, recent regional developments and areas of mutual interests. According to a statement from the Afghan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Muttaqi expressed appreciation for Turkey's continued assistance and described the relationship between Kabul and Ankara as growing stronger. The active outreach by Uzbekistan and Turkey reflects a regional trend favoring constructive engagement over isolation, a message these countries believe could lead to stability and long-term peace. This is Tamim Bahis in Kabul for AnewZ.
It has been an action-packed start to the week in the world of sport, from Azerbaijan's stunning triumph in the Mini Football World Cup to transfer twists and turns heating up the summer window. Our Nick Summerby has all the latest headlines and developments from across the sporting world.
Welcome, and firstly, congratulations to Azerbaijan for winning the Mini Football World Cup, which is a six-a-side competition. It was played in the National Gymnastics Arena, and there's a real buzz around the whole city as well, building up to it. There's a real passion and flavour for football, so we really got to see it. They beat Hungary. The score at the end was 4-2, and a real epic game, but the job was done in the first 10 minutes with 3 goals to Azerbaijan, so congratulations to them. That's a gold medal for them. After that, there was the game, which, as you can understand, was pretty feisty. It's Montenegro versus Serbia. That was for 3rd and 4th. As you can tell, there has been conflict throughout the years there, so you'd imagine it would be a little bit of a tasty game. There was 15 yellow cards, and one red card in the game. Serbia won 3-0, but a real excitement. We want more football to come to the region. I think the fans, I think people really deserve that. They have the stadiums, they're equipped for it. So hopefully it's a case of watch this space and we start getting some more football. But well done to Azerbaijan, you're on the map, wonderful, great performance. Moving away from that, obviously there's no football now with his finish, so it's all talk about transfers, and there's an awful lot of talk as well. First and foremost, there's no talk in Keller. Keller has left Liverpool, the goalkeeper, and he has signed for Brentford. Really good goalkeeper, and I would think that will be a big miss for Liverpool, but a huge gain for Brentford. And it's a marvellous club as well, Brentford, so congratulations. I think that's a really good signing. Buemo to Manchester United, that is talk. Buemo is obviously plays for Brentford on that exciting right winger, so that type of calibre of player Manchester United looking to bring in. Fernandes is going to stay. He was offered £65 million a year, 100 million to Manchester United. He's decided to stay, so that's a huge plus. That's the best player without a shadow of a doubt. That's the captain, so that's a plus and something the Manchester United fans can look forward to. Garnacho, I think, might be moving. I don't think his behaviour's been so good since he was dropped for the final, so I think it'll be a space of him moving. Sancho, I said she was signed for Chelsea in the last show what I did. There's been a massive U-turn on that. Chelsea have decided not to sign him, so he will go back to Manchester United. Let's not forget he's on £300,000 a week. Chelsea have got to pay to give him back, so that's a little bit of a strange decision. I thought they might have kept him, but Manchester United have got to try and sort out what they're going to do with Sancho, whether they're going to play him or whether they're going to move him on. Other movement around as well. Jamie Gittin is an opportunity of him to go to Chelsea. Also, AC Milan are considering a Modric move. We know that he's the superstar, the legend of especially Real Madrid and Croatia. There is still football in him, and it looks like AC Milan are going to maybe get his services, so watch that space. Rezindes as well, if I said that right there, going to Manchester United, the AC Milan and Dutch midfield player. Superb signing he will be for Pep Guardiola. Also Bellingham, this is the brother of Jude Bellingham, who obviously got promotion with Sunderland in that wonderful game at Wembley. He is maybe going to follow in his brother's footsteps and go to Dortmund. There's a release clause in his contract for 37 million. Also Inzaghi, who took his team to the Champions League final, got beat by Paris Saint-Germain for Inter Milan. It looks like he might be going for Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. That's where they're offering fortunes. And they've been wanting his services, and it looks like he is going to be on the move there. Also, news with football is Crystal Palace might miss out on the Europa League. They're in the Europa League for obviously beating Manchester City in the FA Cup, but there's a problem there because John Texler has stakes in the football club, but he also has stakes in Lyon Football Club as well. You cannot and you're not allowed to have stakes in two football clubs. So is he going to have to move on, or do they have to move it around? Something's going to actually happen. They can play in the Europa Conference, but they don't want to do that. So watch this space with that. It's vitally important that they play in the Champions League. Moving away from that as well, tennis. Draper is out. We talk about the young British talent. He is out. Djokovic is through. 5-7, 6-3, 6-2, 6-4. He beat Cameron Norrie, who was another really up-and-coming British maybe star of the tennis circuit. Also Norrie limps out as well. The French Open won't be seeing Norrie again because of injury. Women's La Busson, if I've said that right, ranked number 361, is a wild card coming into the competition, beat Jessica Pegula. This is the lowest ranked tennis player to make it to the quarterfinals of a major tournament. So we keep our eye out on that as it is moving forward and we start getting to the really exciting part of the competition. That's me. There's news happening on a daily basis and I'll be the first one to bring it to you. Look forward to your company.
So well done. We have done for now, but don't go far. Stay tuned for more and have a wonderful morning.